which would bring us to new business, payment of bills on approximately 222.
Resolved that the Board of Education Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois hereby approves the payment of bills as presented and listed in the August 9th, 2016 Board Agenda Packet.
I'll second that. Scott, were there questions on the bills?
There was a few questions.
Okay, why don't you give us the board book you have and I'll...
Okay, board book 225.
Which is board approved payables, page 1.
Yes. Okay, there was two on that page. One was the Anderson elevator. There's a fee, I believe, of $575. That is the fee for having a witness there as they did the performance test on the elevator.
Is that required?
From
License or something?
what Joel told me, yes. Anytime that you're dealing with the elevator and dealing with the labor union on that, that is required. So the elevator is a real touchy subject, you know, per Joel. So
No fork trucks on the elevator. Okay, next question.
there was also a question on Arrigo Enterprises. The AC unit for the cafeteria had multiple refrigerant leaks and was repaired.
Didn't we just fix that last year? Did that thing go out last year?
That's the big repair finally, I think the bill coming in, where we were able to save the coil instead of having to replace it.
Okay,
And then on page 226, Des Plaines Valley region, the bill is our local share for the FY17 portion of paying for the operations fee for DVR to basically process the Perkins grant and the CTE.
DVR is the cooperative we belong to with the other high schools, Oak Park, Ridgewood, Elmwood Park, Proviso, and who am I missing? Triton College. And so we receive federal grant dollars from Perkins and CTE, and so the school district has belonged to a cooperative before I even got here, and we pay for one administrator and one secretary to manage all those federal dollars and do all the grant supervisions and work with each building and their assistant principals so that money is expended accordingly and paperwork submitted in a timely fashion and do all the paperwork management, et cetera, on that. So this is just our annual fee.
next question, page.
There is no further questions.
Yes.
There is?
Oh, wait, no, we have the board approved payables list.
For those.
One question. ECRA. They took 2 stabs at doing an overview report for us, which they failed dramatically. We know that you're happy with their individual data, but the $37,000, whatever you're paying, was for both parts of it. So we haven't heard anything else. They haven't delivered what was under the contract. I don't see why we're going to pay them the second amount until they resolve whether to deliver what they promised us under that agreement.
This was the comparative to the other schools?
Yes.
So this is the first installment?
This is the second installment. We paid them, right? We paid them the first half last year, didn't we?
I think they're paid up. This is the first installment for 16-17.
Oh, it's, all right, I'm sorry. For the first installment for 16-17.
So if they'd like to see a second installment, we need to figure out the quote report.
No, if we want to, we already paid them for a whole year, right? For ECRA?
I believe so.
Okay, so we've already paid them a chunk of money. And they haven't delivered what we thought we were getting, so I don't see why we're paying them a second chunk of money until they either decide they can deliver it or we renegotiate the agreement to lower the costs if they can't deliver.
So the only issue that I would see with this, I understand what you're saying. This is the first installment for using this year's data. So before we would make, either we pay them just this and don't do a second installment and renegotiate because we feel they didn't deliver their part last year. The understand last year's already been paid, the 34 roughly.
That's my point. We paid them for services already that they didn't, it was a 3-year contract, right? Two or
2 or
three.
3 year, I gotta look.
And we're paying them what, I thought it was 35 for the whole period. Is it 35
No, I
a
think
year?
it's 35 a year.
So we paid them 35,000 last year. They didn't deliver half of what they were offered us. And now we're saying if we
Well, I
don't
would say
pay them.
that board report, I wouldn't count it as like half of that.
Well, I do.
I would say probably a third.
I read the agreement and I listened to their presentation and they did not deliver.
I think I can revisit with our sales rep that Mr. Humphries on. We need to maybe renegotiate any future installments.
But we already paid. They didn't deliver what we already paid for. Whatever, if it's a third, whatever you want to say it is, they didn't deliver.
I would think they would argue differently. and
Well, that's
that-
great.
And that they feel they gave us the report and what the board was looking for.
Well, can't we tell them, hey, listen, we're very unhappy with the report you gave us, we didn't feel it was functional. You know, we paid you the full thing last year. Either we get the report that we want in a form that's satisfactory, or let's negotiate down to the.
That's what I was just suggesting.
See, great minds. Is that an approach?
That's the approach I'd like to take. Because their
Without paying
argument, their
us.
argument was,
Under your approach, Ed, are you saying,
the board
Hold
came
this
up.
check.
Hold off paying, let's have the discussion.
Hold
That's,
this
oh,
check.
I'm
You wanna
agreeing
pull
with
this
Ed.
check?
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
Ed's.
for now, yeah, let's just
Okay.
hold it, tell them there's an issue.
Okay,
But they
Scott,
offer us other services. And I,
Understood, but when you have money in hand, you actually have some leverage to
But-
negotiate.
but I don't think, it's odd to me that we hold this one organization out. That report isn't equal to all the other services that they're giving our staff, and maybe.
They got paid last year for their full services. All we're suggesting to them is that going forward this year, we're starting a new year, rather than paying right up front, we're disappointed with what happened last year. Going forward, you either tell us you're gonna really give us what we asked for on the report, or this year we'll pay you less.
I will make that call.
I'm not suggesting we stop doing business with them or anything like that, but let's just at least talk to them about this.
Right, I will address that. I will address that. The only reason I keep stumbling here a little bit is because that report that the board wanted kind of came one night when one board member said, hey, why don't we compare ourselves to the top 10? And then ECRA, if they're not customers of ECRA, they can't really dig into some of that data of the top 10.
Hold on a
And
second.
then there was a
They
concern of
delivered two different reports.
They compared
One
us
was
to
a
a group.
disaster, one they thought they fixed, it was a less of a disaster. We asked them to tell us who we're being compared to. They claimed their agreement said they couldn't do it. I pulled the agreement out and read it, which is the same as ours, and they could have given us the data. And we never heard another word since then.
Let's just have the discussion, then we can decide what to do. We'll be okay.
Okay. When are you expecting to use some services from ECRA?
Well, whenever you use the services, tell them if he says a third, we've already paid a third for this year because they didn't deliver a third of the services last year. So whatever number you pick, we're prepaid based on what they deliver.
I just want to know when the window is you're starting to pull data for them for 16, 17, or if you have started.
We're getting a report on September 1st that will be used as a part of the teacher's evaluation score this year for the student growth component.
I'll give a call to Mr. Humphries this week.
Good.
So, and maybe it might be helpful for the board if you actually articulated all the things, because you use them quite a bit. And that data helps you do many things that we're just not privy to. Maybe the board needs to know that.
She explained it
Yeah,
to
we
us,
know
and
I
she said
just
she's very
kinda
happy
did that
with
by
it.
saying, hey, it's really more like a third, because a big chunk of the work.
We
is-
know what they provide us, there's unhappiness in one realm, now's the time to address it.
Well, we've been unhappy with reports from our architects, and we haven't said, hey, we don't want to pay you. So,
We're not suggesting here that we're not gonna pay them. What we're suggesting is they need to address this issue to our satisfaction or adjust the payment. Not that we're not gonna pay, we're not gonna stiff them, but we need to talk about this so that they understand that we're unhappy. That's all I'm suggesting.
but we're not paying them tonight?
Right.
We're holding this payment for me to discuss some things with
Exactly.
concrete.
Any other comments on this side?
Well, I don't think we should hold the payment. I think we had an agreement with them. I think we just talk with them and tell them we need the report in a different way, because they are providing all the other services our staff needs to run.
Or if they can't perform that report, they need to tell us that so that maybe the bill can be adjusted.
Correct, that's
That's all.
as simple as that.
It may not be a big adjustment, may not be in Tim's mind 50% reduction, but I understand what the conversation is. I will go back and report
Do we
back.
need to amend the motion to remove this bill?
The
Yeah.
one bill.
Resolved that the Board of Education Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois, hereby approves the payment of bills as presented except for the bill for ECRA.
Group
Uh,
Incorporated.
What page is that on?
Board Book, page 227.
Except for the invoice for ECRA for $17,564.54 as presented in the board packet of
Dated
August
August
9th, 2016.
I'll second that. Have we gone through the questions?
Yes.
So all the questions on the bills are done?
Correct.
Okay, we'll go for the vote.
Ms. Ruska?
Yes.
Mr. Jefferson?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Cindy?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Richard?
Yes.
Mr. Welch?
Yes.